Hello and welcome to the Ending Body Burnout Show. We are your hosts, Chris and Philly, co-founders of a multi-award-winning functional medicine practice, serving busy people with energy, mood, and gut issues.
While busyness, addictive doing, people-pleasing, and perfectionism might be the norm, it's not normal, and it's a major contributor to health issues.
Our goal with this show is to give you a holistic root cause approach to healing your body so that you don't have to continue doctor or diet hopping or popping a gazillion supplements hoping something might stick.
So get ready to heal your body, get your spark back, deeply connect with yourself, and step into the life of your dreams.
Let's dive in. G'day guys, how you going? And welcome to this episode of the Ending Body Burnout Show. Two things. One, I'm going to let Philly introduce the topic to this one because she's going to absolutely not butcher it like I would. And two, hey, if you're not watching the actual video of this one, jump onto our YouTube channel, link in the description down below, and check out what happens when you try and rush shaving and you end up having to lop the whole beard off. So you're going to have to put up with the full Chris face in the video. But for those of you who are listening to the audio, you'll know why I've got a good face for radio.
Yeah, like it's been a few days since Chris has had a very short stubble.
Oh, man. Yeah.
And I'm still getting used to it. I'm pretty sure if someone jumped onto YouTube for the first time, they wouldn't think anything of it.
Yeah.
For anyone who has seen Chris's face for a while, you'd be like, who the heck is that underneath all the hair?
Chris, why is your dad on your YouTube channel?
Okay.
Oh, stick around, guys. We look forward to bringing this one to you.
Talking about dads and family, we're talking all about genetics today. So genes, genetics, and we titled today's episode, Why Genetic Testing Can Do More Harm Than Good, which is probably a controversial, maybe an unpopular title for a functional medicine approach to healing from health issues. So we're going to dive into, I am going to talk about what gene testing is, and it can be helpful and it has a place, but also what we have seen a lot, especially with new clients or, people that we've talked about too, that sometimes there can be so much hyperfixation on genes and it can get people stuck in a bit of a victim mentality. So we're going to really break that down because it could be the reason why you're not healing.
Nice. All right.
So some questions that we get asked by a lot of clients, which I will use these as a pre-frame into what we're going to talk about today, often sound like this. So someone's tried all the things, they're trying to get better from their health issues, and I don't know, nothing's working. Maybe I just have dodgy genes. I need to do a gene test. I'm struggling to get better. It must be my genes. And so then they will request to do a gene test. Another question that I hear often is, I've done a gene test, something like 23andMe, maybe one online, and oh my gosh, there were so many genes that came back as abnormal. What supplement do I need? And this is going to fix all my issues. And then the third question that I hear a lot when it comes to genes is, I have X gene mutation that might look like COMT or MTHFR. I'm going to talk about that one a little bit later. Should I stay on this supplement for the rest of my life in order to function? Now, underneath these questions are great. Like, cool. Everyone who is asking these questions wants to be well. They're trying to find solutions. But underneath these questions can be unresourceful, unconscious core beliefs that can actually block your ability to heal. So we're going to answer these questions as we're going through the episode. We'll talk about when gene testing can be helpful, and also when it's not, and how it can cause anxiety and feed an I am broken belief, which will literally block your ability to heal.
Now I speak my language. Genes, not 100%, unless we're talking about Levi's. But beliefs, that's in my
All right. Well,
toolkit.
You're going to have to stay quiet for a little bit longer then, Chris.
Ah, crap.
We're not talking about beliefs yet. We're going to talk about genes first.
Let's add some timestamps for the people who go cross-eyed when science comes about. They're just like, don't tell me the science, just tell me what to do about it.
I feel like most people who listen to our podcast like both.
Yeah, I reckon. But leave a comment if you're more like me, or leave a comment if you're more like Phil. Let's do a poll. I bet you everyone will say that they're like me.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
I don't think so. I doubt it.
So for those who might not know what a gene is, I'm pretty sure you do, but to break it down, it's a basic unit of heredity passed on from a parent to a child. So we all have genes, we all have DNA, we all have very similar genes and DNA, but there's going to be tiny little differences in each one of us in order for us to make us unique. So when it comes to genetic testing, it's really looking at different sequences of DNA and how they're arranged. In the health space, genetic testing can be used to assess for risk of hereditary diseases. Things like celiac is a really common one, and GPs often test for celiac if someone is not doing well with gluten or they have chronic low iron, a lot of gut issues. Other assessments that genetic testing can show you more information about in terms of risk of developing different diseases might be heart disease, diabetes, certain types of cancers. And so when you do these tests, those tests can give you guidance on supporting your genes to prevent disease and optimize health. So cool, great, that's great. Knowledge is power. If that helps you to live a healthy and happy life and you're not stressed out about, oh my gosh, I think I might develop cancer one day because that's what my genes are saying. Then if that's not you, then it's like, cool, that's helpful. Now, another space that I see genetic testing in the functional medicine space would be if you're chronically ill. So you have a functional medicine practitioner and they might conduct gene testing to get more data to look for gene mutations that may be leading to your symptoms, and then offer targeted supplements and lifestyle advice to support gene pathways. So gene mutations are where you've got genes that are slightly off, and then it can affect, like a lot of the times in the body, it affects the way you're metabolizing and utilizing different nutrients. So I'll give you a really concrete example. If you've read my book, Ending Body Burnout, I do have a section in the start of the book when I talk about the body systems around genes, and especially the MTHFR gene, which
looks like a swear word.
Does, doesn't it?
Oh dear.
So the MTHFR gene is all to do with your ability to detoxify and to methylate different amino acids. It helps to break down amino acids, or the amino acid homocysteine. And in order for it to function really well, it needs different amino acids like N-acetylcysteine and more specifically B12 and folate to really function at its best. Now, did you know that a quarter of the population have the MTHFR gene mutation?
A quarter?
A quarter. So that's quite a lot.
That's like 25%.
That's 25%. So if you've got a family of 4,
that's 2/8.
One person in your family may have this gene mutation. Now, remember, can also be passed down. So you might actually have a family and all of you have the MTHFR gene mutation. So some signs of if this mutation is going a little bit crazy, or what it's really important for, first of all. So I mentioned detoxification, methylation. So it really helps to remove toxins from the body. It's really important for repairing DNA. So that's even like after exercise, when your muscle and your cells break down. You need MTHFR and your ability to methylate to repair cellular damage done to the body. It also helps to keep inflammation in check, and it's really important for protecting the nerves, or the protective coating around the nerves, so that they stay really healthy. So if someone has an MTHFR mutation and it's expressing, it often means that you start burning through particular vitamins such as B12 and folate really fast, and so then it compromises your body's ability to methylate, and your body needs B12 and folate for lots of other things as well. Or for some people it can bottleneck, so you might have some little coenzyme nutrients that aren't functioning very well, and B12 and folate bottleneck in the body, which causes a slow methylation or almost like a flooding of those nutrients, and it can cause a lot of issues. So some symptoms that MTHFR gene mutation can be linked to would be things like fatigue, brain fog, low mood. Often see MTHFR mutation in inflammatory issues such as body aches, headaches, migraines, food sensitivities, hormonal issues, infertility, fluid retention, difficulty detoxing. Very commonly see this in people who have had long haul COVID or vaccine reactions. So if this MTHFR gene is completely shut down, it can lead to full-blown mental health issues like suicidal, depression, anxiety,
Wow.
bipolar, and schizophrenia. So really important gene to have. Okay. So it could be helpful. So if we go along this same example of MTHFR, understanding what your genes are doing, if you have a mutation, could help to guide towards a treatment plan. So for example, if I have a client, and a lot of clients, not a lot, some have already done a test for MTHFR if they've worked with other practitioners. So already we know that's part of their history, and that may mean that in order for them to heal and feel well, they may need methylated forms of folate, vitamin B12, B6. By the way, synthetic forms of these vitamins like folic acid will not help, and they'll make the issue worse. So you want to make sure you're using methylated forms of these nutrients. Also, if you have the MTHFR mutation, then supporting the function of that with other nutrients can be really helpful as well. So things like glutathione, magnesium, supporting the liver, and then making sure that you're eating a lot of foods rich in vitamin Bs, which will just help your own capacity to be able to methylate well. So things like asparagus, lettuce, broccoli, avocado, dark leafy greens like spinach and kale. Foods high in B6 are often animal products, so poultry, seafood, but even bananas, more leafy greens, and B12 you can find in fish, poultry, and meat. And then from a lifestyle point of view, understanding if you have a mutation and it's impacting your symptoms, you'd really want to start looking at your toxin load. So MTHFR is part of detoxifying. So if you can reduce your load, then it's just going to take one big job out of the picture that your gene does. So looking at what are you using in your products? Are you using standard stuff from the supermarket? It's highly likely it's got toxic chemicals in it. What are you painting your house with? Are you smelling petrol when you go and fill up? I mean, we all do, but what are some things that you can do to reduce?
Wait, we all what?
We all do smell petrol. Like you jump out of your car and you're filling up your car with petrol. I remember when I was a kid, I loved the smell of petrol, and I'd literally sniff it. Not like as an addict, but my dad would be filling up the car and I'd be like, ooh, I like that smell. Probably why I had some issues. Wow. Also food. So there's a lot of food additives that can impact your ability to detoxify and mold exposure. So reducing those and then helping your body flush out toxins. So how can you optimize your sweating, weeing, and pooing? Because that's the way we get rid of toxins. Can you have some saunas? Can you do some exercise where you can sweat more? Drink lots of water so you're weeing. And if you're constipated, not pooing very well, if you've got a lot of gut issues, do some gut work. Okay, so genetic testing can be helpful for sure, and it's often a part of a treatment protocol when we're holistically working with our clients. However, it can also be very, very harmful, and a lot of the clients that end up working with us in some way, genetic testing or even just knowing about genes has become part of a dysfunctional story that's blocking their ability to heal. So let's talk about that, shall we?
Yay.
Yay. Okay. So if we go back to the questions that I mentioned earlier, and we'll just dig into those. So someone is confused, frustrated, they're not getting better, they're taking the supplements, they're doing the diets, they're living low tox. but they're struggling to get better and they think maybe it's just my genes. Maybe it's just my genes. Maybe I need to do a gene test. I think that's going to be the thing that solves the issue. Oh my gosh, so many, especially new clients get to this. That's like the last path on the road. It's like, it's just my genes. I'm destined. So underneath that is so many different stories that person is telling, so many different beliefs that are connected to this question that they're asking. Not for everyone, but again, I see this as a pattern. So one, there's this hyperfixation, first of all, that maybe my genes are faulty. What's wrong with them? So therefore, if my genes are faulty, then there must be something faulty with me. So it feeds in on this belief that I am broken. It often perpetuates a belief that I'm a complicated case as well. And by the way, there's often this environment and different situations that have led that person to feel like that anyway. They've gone through 10 different practitioners. They've done all the medical stuff. They've done a bunch of natural stuff. They're still broken. They're still unwell. So therefore, I'm a complicated case. Now, if this person then did gene testing, and by the way, every single person has mutated genes. Every single person. I betcha that if every single person on this planet did a genetic test, and again, I use 23andMe as like an example because it lists so many different gene mutations, every single person is going to have at least one gene that is mutated. However, a person with an unconscious core belief that believes that they're a complicated case, that they're broken, that they're wonky, that they're weird, that they're messed up, when they see that data on a piece of paper that says your genes are messed up, then it's like another piece of validation. And this often is all happening unconsciously, but it perpetuates this deeper belief that they can't be well, that they're destined to be broken, mutated.
Interesting.
Okay. Another thing too, so again, going back to the questions I started off the podcast with. So I've done a gene test. I've had so many markers come back as abnormal. What supplement do I need? And I've seen this with clients as well, new clients, where they've exhausted the amount of supplements that they need to take based on a gene test, but they keep digging. It's just like, nah, haven't got the right supplement yet, or maybe it wasn't in the right dose, or maybe the cofactor wasn't there. And so there becomes this hyperfixation that the solution is outside of them rather than inside of them. And we'll talk about epigenetics and gene expression soon, because if it was as simple as you have this gene mutation, you take vitamin B12 and all your issues disappear, it's like, great. Now, occasionally that does happen. It's like, cool, yeah, you're just really deficient in B12, and adding that into your system has really helped get your body functioning well. But it's very rare that the supplement is the fix. And again, it perpetuates this belief that I can't heal myself. Something else or someone else must do this for me. And so people can get stuck in victim mentality. And then the other question too is around, I have MTHFR gene mutation, for example. Should I stay on methylated Bs for the rest of my life? Now, I'm not saying that every single person who asks this question has a deep belief that this is a dysfunctional question to ask. But underneath that, and again, if this is something that you have asked your practitioner, maybe even if it's me, just have a deeper look under that, because there may be signs that there's a deeper belief that I'm not capable of being fully well because I have this mutation. And even deeper than that, I'm not capable of being fully well because deep down, I have an unconscious core belief that I can't, or I'm undeserving, or I'm incapable, or I'm broken. Now, raw data that you get when you do a genetic test, which shows a gene mutation, again, can be helpful. However, is it even expressing? So here's the thing. If a person does a genetic test and they're getting so hyperfixated on all these mutations and what they need to do about them, that genetic test doesn't tell you if it's actually expressing or not. So you may be going down a rabbit hole that you don't even have to worry about. Something like, as a really practical thing that we'll do with clients, is run an organic acid test. Now, it's not a gene test, but there are markers that if they're super duper high or really, really low, or there's different patterns, which as a practitioner, I'll be looking for patterns, that it can actually say, yeah, you do have this gene mutation and it's expressing. There are so many times that a new client has come with the knowledge and the test that they have the MTHFR gene mutation. And when we do the organic acid test, it's not expressing. Which is really cool, because then it's like, oh, wow, okay, already my thought patterns around why I'm sick has totally been shattered. And it's a good information and evidence that even if you have a gene mutation, it doesn't have to affect your health at all. Okay. Some other things too is that gene mutation issues can cause health anxiety. So it's like, again, it's just feeding into these deeper beliefs around victimhood. I'm broken, I'm mutated. I have this sensation, it must be that gene. Oh my gosh, I have to do more. I have to eat more broccoli. I have to take more supplements. Oh no, it's not working because I'm still sick now. What am I going to do? It can also cause people to live really restrictive, as if they have wrapped themselves up in bubble wrap because they know that they have mutated genes, and they're so fearful of their weakness, their lack of resiliency. Again, these are beliefs, stories. So therefore they have to eat a super clean, healthy diet. They can never bring a toxic product into their lives ever. They have to keep themselves out of society so that they have very little stress and maybe even stop work, so that their genes don't cause issues. Not fun. Not a fun way to live. Anything you want to add so far?
No, keep going through the list, and then we'll break it down after that.
Okay. Now, I've heard this a few times too. Again, when I say a new client, it's in the connect the dots initial consult, which is the first step in our ending body burnout method. And that's where we're putting all the dots on the page, collecting all the data to make it an action plan going forward. And something that I've heard from some people is that they are so fixated on a disease, and that might be a gene mutation, or it might be a hereditary disease like schizophrenia, ADHD, thyroid autoimmune condition, that they are so miserable and they've suffered so much in this diagnosis and the effects of it that they have feared passing it on to their kids, so they have chosen not to become a parent. That's pretty deep. Like, I mean, a new client won't say that out loud when they're started, but ask a few questions, and underneath what's the problem with knowing and having this knowledge and feeling this is that there's this deep hurt and fear of having kids, but then they're now past childbearing age, and now there's disappointment and sadness and this feeling of loss for something that they could have had that they chose not to have because they were too scared. So that's pretty big. Okay, and then, I mean, we talked about beliefs around being broken, mutated, there's something wrong with me. Those beliefs essentially are like when they become really sticky and they cause big issues and block your ability to heal is when you're identifying as a broken person or identifying as a mutated person. Might not be the actual word that you say to yourself, your conscious mind out loud all the time, but dig a bit deeper, and there's usually identity-based beliefs based on whether there's a family history of a disease or you have knowledge that you have mutated genes.
Okay, can I jump in?
Yeah.
When I chat to somebody for the first time, and there's a lot of podcasts these days, and I know I've listened to a few, and unlike you, I don't nerd out on science and that sort of stuff, although I do have a science degree. It's so funny. You've got a psychology degree. I've got a science one, and I kind of lean away from science. Anyway, my point is, what people tell me is like, I was listening to a podcast and I think the root cause is I've got this mofo gene. And it's just like, oh, wow, interesting. And they're like, do you mean
FOMO?
No.
Mofo?
No, that's like,
that's what someone has actually said to you.
On many occasions, just the way it's spelled, MTHFR.
Oh, yeah.
Looks like
the mother gene.
Bad word.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
You get it? Yeah. So they'll say, I have the mofo gene, and but they don't say mofo. They'll say the actual word. Anyway, they'll say that, and this is the root cause. This is the reason. I get it. I know it. It's this test, please. And Philly and I are, as you know, listeners, we're interested in getting to the root cause, not just this superficial. Okay, so you got that, but what else? Like, why is this expressing? Why is this happening to you? And other people that also have this mutation, it might not be expressing. So what makes you special that this is coming up for you? And so my favorite thing to use is the drama triangle, and a victim is always looking for a hero or a rescuer, somebody to save them or to pull them out of the pit, and the pit of despair and disaster that some you might find yourself in, or other people that might find themselves in, is symptomology and all this sort of stuff, health stuff going on, and then all of a sudden you're just like, dun, 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 dun. Yes, this is it. It's the mofo gene. This is the reason. You're knowing this now is going to be the rescue, the savior for me. I can now pin all my hopes on this, and I can say, that's why I'm broken. That's why I'm stuffed. That's why I can't. All those people who said it's all in your head, all those people who said you can get better, no, stuff you. See, I am broken. And that's the conversation tends to, not all the time, but most of the time, lean that way, is like, I need this testing so that I can prove that it's not in my head and this is what's happening, so that I can live the rest of my life on blah, 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 blah. Anyway, favorite thing to look at is drama triangle. The opposite of a victim is somebody who's a creator, somebody who takes responsibility for their state, somebody who can see outside the box, somebody who a victim has no agency. A victim thinks, I've got no choice in this. I can't do anything about it. I'm stuffed, so why even try? To transcend that drama, if you can create, if you can see a possibility, if you can create choices for yourself, take responsibility where and how you can, that's how you get out of this drama. I've got a couple other points, but I think that's a huge one, is this, I can't do anything about it. Now that's bullcrap. You actually can. And I'm not a massive fan of lumping people into a boat and just saying, no, you've got this gene, it's mutated, so suck it up and have a subscription to some supplements for the rest of your life.
Now, like as I'm listening to Chris, he's put a bit of a sledgehammer. It's like,
oopsies.
By the way, and this is where you can be more victim mentality in a subtle way. So it's pretty rare that someone's going to reach out to us to become a client because they think that they consciously believe that they're broken and fix me. You know, that is very rarely the language.
Oh, what? Hang on. Wait, no, Philly doesn't do the discovery calls. So there's a lot of people who call me and they don't make it past the gatekeeper.
Okay. All right. So I guess I don't.
I'm pretty good at spotting those people.
Okay, cool. I don't have conversations with those people.
I protect you.
By the time they get to me,
that's what I do. I hold the gates.
Beautiful souls ready to become their own self healers. All right. Oh, well, I won't go down that track. But so Chris is talking about stepping out of the drama. And so becoming the leader, becoming the creator, becoming the visionary. And this really ties into, even if you have a mutated gene, which we all do, you have the ability to choose whether it expresses or not and to create the environment so that it no longer expresses. You also have the choice to create an environment where it does express too. Dr. Ben Lynch, he would be like big guru in the genetic space for functional medicine, and he has written a book called Dirty Genes. I used to love that book, but now even that title, I'm like, ooh, that's a bit hopeless. You have dirty genes. It's like, no, you don't. You just have genes. So Dr. Ben Lynch, I don't like the title of your book anymore. But what I do like about his content and the work that he has done is that he does talk about you can switch these genes on and you can switch them off. So some things that you have within your power, again, if we kind of break it down into body, mind, environment. So body, what's happening in your body that might be causing inflammation. It's all about inflammation and stress that will then switch these mutated genes into expression. So what are you eating? What are you drinking? How are you drinking and eating? What's your sleep like? How are you moving your body? Have you got other imbalances inside your body that may be causing more stress and inflammation? That might be parasites, candida, toxin overload, all that sort of stuff. And they're all the things that we work with our clients as well, because we're not saying that the physical doesn't matter. It absolutely does. Physical, metaphysical, it all is connected, and we must treat your body, and all layers of your body. Environment. So then, as I said before, what's happening in your environment? Are you living in like a mold pit? Because that's going to express some genes. Are you using a lot of toxic products? Are you maybe in a profession where you're around a lot of toxic products like hairdressing, mechanic, that sort of stuff?
Nurses, doctors.
Yeah. Like the amount of sanitizer that people put on, COVID times. Okay, so that's environment. And then you'd also be thinking about toxic relationships and toxic people potentially in your environment too. And then the mind is a big one. So the mind is huge. How are you thinking? How are you feeling? What is your nervous system doing? What are the beliefs that you have? How do you identify? Do you identify as a well person or an unwell person or a broken person? Dr. Bruce Lipton, so he back in the 1970s, he did a few PhDs on microbiology. He was very physical. He was just all around like cells and the physical body. And anyway, he was the one that just discovered that cells are either in thrive or survive mode. They have a little switch. They're never in between. So if there's any dysfunction happening in the body, that means that the cells are in survive mode. And that was like groundbreaking information back in the 70s. And then his next big question and his next big thesis was, okay, well, what can help the cells switch into thrive mode? When that happens, that's when your genes, your mutated genes no longer express. So they just settle down and your body functions normally. Now, all the things that I mentioned before in terms of you have the power to change your environment, your habits, what you're putting into your body, and your mind, they're all the things that he researched into. And did you know that the biggest thing he discovered that determined whether your cells were in thrive or survive mode, so whether your genes are expressing, mutated genes are expressing or not, is the beliefs and the thoughts you have about yourself. Oh, which is huge. And I want to read some quotes from him because I think that this just really, really dials into you have so much power to create whatever reality you want to create, including the reality of your health and your body. So Bruce says, what we think we become. We're not victims of the universe. We are victims of our subconscious programs. I don't love that word, by the way. It's like, well, you're not even a victim of your subconscious program. It's just your program and you have the power to recreate that. He also says we are not victims of our hereditary. We're the master of our hereditary because we can change things. And the moment you change your perception is the moment you rewrite the chemistry from your body. So literally, when you start believing that you have beautiful genes and that you have the blueprint of perfect health and that you are someone who is so deserving and capable of health, literally your physical chemistry in your body, adrenaline starts calming down, cortisol starts calming down, you start secreting more serotonin and like healing chemicals inside your body, your gut's functioning better. The moment you change your perception about yourself is the moment you rewrite the chemistry from your body. And the moment you change your perception about any stories about your health or the healing process or medicine that is not serving you is the moment you rewrite the chemistry in your body. I love that.
Boom.
I've got a few. I'll want to read one more. Epigenetics doesn't change the genetic code. It changes how that's read. Perfectly normal genes can result in cancer or death. Vice versa, in the right environment, mutant genes won't be expressed. Genes are equivalent to blueprints. Epigenetics is the contractor. They change the assembly, the structure. And that one's really cool too, because if you are somewhere where you're like, oh my gosh, yeah, I have a lot of fear around my genes because I have all this information about how screwed up my body is. It's like even genes that aren't mutated can still develop cancer. If your beliefs are believing that to be true, if your habits and your lifestyle and your behaviors are all creating the environment in which that happens. A real practical example of this would be you're eating a piece of fruit. Now, if you eat the fruit with a belief and a perception that sugar is bad and fruit has sugar, so therefore fruit is bad, there's a lot of diets out there that say fruit is bad, compared to if you eat a piece of fruit with a belief that it is rich in beautiful antioxidants and nutrients and it's got so much good healthy fiber, your body is going to have a very different experience digesting and metabolizing that piece of fruit depending on your beliefs and perceptions. Literally, that fruit could make you sick or it could make you very well, depending on what you believe. And I think that that's so cool.
and this brings a little block that a lot of people might experience, and it is a part of you might not want to heal. A part of you might not want to get better, and so therefore, in a myopic, I think that's how you pronounce it, short-sighted way, you block yourself off from seeing opportunities to heal because you get a secondary gain from being sick. You get a secondary gain from having a confirmed gene mutation. You get a secondary gain you can use it as an excuse, a reason, or whatever. And for those of you who don't know what that means, go Google it and then watch a couple of our other podcasts on limiting beliefs and secondary gains. But I think the more you're willing to look into this, the more you're able to see choices everywhere, see things that, I could work on that. Yeah, I could work on that. And you open yourself up to seeing these potential things that you can, like little bits of stuff that you can sweep up, dust off in your heart and in your life and in your wellness, mind, body, environment. And then if it's you can recognize that now's as good a time as any to do this. WAR, declare. This might be a low road kind of thing, but declare war is just like, I'm going to stand for this. I'm not going to stand for this. I'm going to actually make a change. I'm going to say enough's enough. I'm going to make a change in my life. I'm willing, I'm able, I'm ready.
I love it. So
thanks.
So rewiring your brain. Now we're actually holding next month in September, we're holding a Rewire Your Brain to Heal from Body Burnout. It's a live coaching week. It is free. We did a poll in Facebook and Instagram a few weeks ago with some different topics.
We did not think that this was going to be the big one.
Well, I did, but you didn't.
I did not think that this was going to be the big one.
But this was by far the most popular. So people are wanting to know how to do this. And I'll talk a little bit more in a second. I just wanted to finish off the conversation around genes. So you can access this healing power when you rewire your brain. And what that actually looks like is challenging your beliefs and actually identifying what are they. So what are your beliefs about your genes or possible mutations? And are they causing a self-fulfilling prophecy? And what are the perceived gains and losses, as Chris said before, of being a person with dirty genes? Because there will be, especially if you're holding on to that belief and identity. And when it comes to identity, do you identify as a person with something like MTHFR mutation or COMT mutation or hereditary disease? Now, when it comes to identity, it's not pretending that you don't have the gene or that there's this hereditary thing in your family. It's about choosing whether they express or not. And being the type of person who has the power to switch cells from survive to thrive and therefore switch off gene mutations. When you do that, you do not identify as someone with a mutation and it's causing all the issues. You're aware of it, but you choose to not have it. And so therefore it switches off. Another way to rewire the brain around thought patterns and deeper beliefs is lean into the science of epigenetics. There is so much information out there that you aren't destined for disease because you have a hereditary or a genetic issue. You are not. And look for evidence of being healed of both yourself, so evidence that you are healing, but also look for other people who have healed from genes that we're expressing and now they're completely well, and analyze how did they do that. But even just being in the space of evidence, your brain is going to say, if they can do it, I can do that. Okay, cool. And if you're part of any Facebook groups or forums where people identify as a person with dirty genes or a specific disease, that might be thyroid issues or Crohn's disease or whatever it is, and if it's causing you to solidify that diagnosis as your identity, ditch the Facebook groups. Look, they can be helpful. They can help you get some tools and ideas and support, and, sometimes people find us through things like that too. So it can be helpful. But if you feel...
Yeah, we don't want to cut off our lead generation supply.
But if you feel like your diagnosis is now a too tight jacket, and that is actually a quote from Erin Holt, who interviewed a month or two ago. If you feel like your diagnosis is a too tight jacket, and that might even be a diagnosis of adrenal fatigue or leaky gut.
Oh, I see what you mean.
or diabetes, whatever it is. So if you feel like this diagnosis is now a too tight jacket, you're ready to outgrow and create a new reality, you're ready to outgrow this diagnosis, join us. So join us for our free coaching week. In the show notes, I'm going to put a link where you can register for that. Day one, we're going to talk about brain inflammation. So sometimes this is a missing piece when it comes to retraining the brain and let's just change our neural pathways. It's hang on, we still can't forget the physical side of things. If your brain is inflamed, neuroplasticity, it's really hard to restructure a very inflamed brain. So we're going to talk about why that's the case and what to do if your brain is inflamed. Day two, we're going to talk about your patterns. So how to rewire the brain so it's not a Band-Aid approach. Because again, this is, sometimes we have clients who have come to us who have done a specific brain retraining course and they've got nothing. And when you dig into it, it's oh, okay, so you were ticking off, you were doing the practices or the exercises, but all the same patterns of why you're stuck in body burnout and symptomatic are still there, and all those beliefs are still there. So we're really going to go into that side of things on day two. And day three, we're going to look at how you can rewire pain signals and create new neural pathways of safety in your brain and your body, and essentially switch off symptoms. And this is leading up to launch week for our Ending Body Burnout Method, which is our signature program, our healing accelerator. It is awesome. It's really going into deep root cause medicine. So it's a great chance to try before you buy. Do you like the way that we coach and the way that we heal? Not heal. Our clients are doing the healing. Do you like our approach? And also, I'll pop in the show notes a link to our waitlist. Because if you're on the waitlist for the Ending Body Burnout Method, you will get first dibs. There are limited spaces. This isn't just a course, it's a program which includes one-on-one consults and coaching. And we have two different service options for that, but both of them still include one-on-one. So we really can only let in so many people. And also you will get access to early bird bonuses if you're on the wait list and you join before doors open.
Boom. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us today in this episode. We will see you on the next one.
Thank you so much for listening. We so appreciate you. If you'd like to give us extra smiles, drop us a review and spread the love by sharing this episode.
You can also rate your own state of burnout and the root cause contributors by taking our Ending Body Burnout assessment on our website. And if you're interested in learning about our group or one-on-one Ending Body Burnout programs, shoot us a DM via Instagram or Facebook.
Have the best day ever.